Acadiana, welcome back to my favorite show, Casey and Friends. And I'm very, very excited because today's guest is a very famous Acadian artist that I recently just met in Brobridge, Mr. Kelly Guidry. Nice to meet you, Mr. Kelly.
Good to meet you.
Is your thumb okay? I'm worried about hurting it.
My thumb's okay. We're good.
Fantastic. Yeah. I saw that earlier, but I know you're okay.
Always getting poked and scratched and cut, but
what a
doing
perfect
good.
Springboard into my first question, which is, as I said, you're a very famous artist in Acadiana. You're medium. I know, but how about can you tell everyone else?
Sure. In short, I work in wood and metal, work with the chainsaw, a lot of other different types of tools, grinders, hand saws, and then plasma cutter, welding machine.
Plasma cutter. Do you have a flamethrower?
Close.
I seen the videos, and hopefully you guys will be seeing it too as we have this interview. But I have so many questions for you because I'm also a visual artist, and I designed a logo.
Oh, that is nice, yeah.
But you've got quite a few pieces that I think are just fascinating. I love your insects.
Thank you.
And aren't they featured at the museum here?
Yes.
In Lafayette?
Yes, where there's about a half a dozen fairly realistic local style bugs at the museum, yes. And
also, I love your blockheads series.
Those are a lot of fun. That actually was initially inspired by a drawing my niece did when she was about 3.
How old is she now?
I'm ashamed to say I don't know exactly, but she's well up into her teens now.
You know, you should watch her.
I don't remember exactly how old I am from day to day.
You should watch her Casey's and Friends episode about Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Just kidding. But anyway.
I might forget. You might have to remind me. But
well, no. Actually, I wanted to ask, so you don't have to tell us your age, but how long have you been like a professional artist in Acadiana?
I've been doing it full-time since 2000. So 25 years as my full-time job.
Wow.
I took my first sculpture class in 91 at UL, and I've been doodling and making little things for longer than I can remember.
Did you major in visual arts?
I did. I was actually in advertising design was my degree.
Now, do you believe that a professional artist has to have like a degree or that knowledge? Because you hear about like self-taught artists all the time, and usually, you know, in history, some of those ones have even become, you know, masters. So what's your take on that?
I of the beholder. If your goal is to make a living, you have to sell. So if people like what you do, doesn't matter if you were trained or not.
Okay.
Sometimes it comes from the soul, but there's such a spectrum of ways to make a living as a quote unquote artist, a commercial artist, a fine artist. You have people that want high realism, and then you have the completely outsider, untrained art that just want to express something, and they've got some cardboard and some house paint, and they don't care what anybody thinks about it or whether they'll buy it or not, and they just go to town. So that's your spectrum.
I guess what I'm trying to like springboard from that into is art is subjective. And so what do you think makes your art distinctly unique? Is it just what you do, which is very cool how you do it, but you're very well known in Brobridge at the Pink Gator Gallery, right?
Pink Alligator Gallery.
Check them out. And what are the, I believe it's Friday and Saturdays.
Friday and Saturdays.
Plug, here we go.
Fridays and Saturdays. We're open more at certain times of the year. Slower times, it's more by appointment.
Okay. And you guys have like 3 big shows over the course of the year. I think I saw that on your website. Check out their website too, by the way, people.
Festival International, Festival Acadian, and well, that's really, I'm kind of down to the 2, but then we do the, next weekend we're doing an art walk in Brobridge. My wife puts that on, and it's kind of in conjunction with the gallery, and we close off the street in Brobridge, so that's kind of a nice little holiday deal that we do.
Oh no, I do art walk every month whenever the weather permits. So
sure.
I love art walks in any state, especially in Acadiana. What will future generations say about your artwork? Oh, that's a good one.
I would like to think that it's documenting the local culture.
Big time.
I think that I early on in college, I didn't want to be Cajun boy artist.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I had more and more of an appreciation for my culture, and it was how do I represent it my way with my
Right.
put my twist and my turn on it, because there were so many in advertising. One of the very first things he told us was, don't bring me logos with alligators and fleur-de-lis and crawfish on them.
Yes.
It's too easy. It's too kitsch. It's too clip art. So for a long time, I had it in my mind that I could not do anything with alligators or crawfish or fleur-de-lis because it would be too passe or whatever. So it took me a while to come back around and say, okay, it's not about not doing it. It's not about not doing it the same old way. Trying to find a new way to present it, to make it new, to make it fresh. I really love the designs from Parish Inc. They've
Love them,
found this
yeah.
really cool way to take these things and make it hip and modern and fresh, and it ties into that whole idea of the lashpa, of the holding on to that culture.
And a
which
big
was-
part of the culture is family. And so when you say Parish Inc., I'm like, also, they're very family oriented.
Yes.
I got my nephew and his dad matching t-shirts. So they make the awesome designs, by the way. But then they have like the little baby 1-year-old, 8 months, 7
Yeah.
months. It's awesome.
Sure.
The onesie that matches with it, so cool.
No.
Have you done shirts with them before?
Well, we've, as a matter of fact, they printed some shirts for us. One of our artists at the gallery is Shine Saunier. Now,
Okay.
Shine's in his 70s. Him and his brother are very heavily influenced by Howard Finster, which was a big outsider folk artist.
Okay.
And he would cut metal. And what Shine loves to do, he cuts tin and paints on both sides.
Okay.
And then he calls it a 2-for-1. And then he's got all these different sayings, some that are his, some that he's picked up. But his work, my interpretation of his work is it's a reflection of the music and the local culture and his personal faith, all kind of wrapped in one, inspired by some of his favorite artists.
Yeah.
Then his brother Willie Saunier, he worked for years glass, doing windshields and windows and all kind of stuff. So he would do these more sculptural pieces with old glass and broken glass and bicycle tires and odd parts and pieces. He would tell us stories about how they loved when their father would take them to the carnival would come to town, and the what do they call it? The circus freaks.
Okay. The freak show.
The freak show.
Yeah.
So he'd have Snake Boy and he'd have Wolf Girl and the
Yeah.
half man, half woman and all that kind of thing. So he would reflect a lot of that. He would make these little carnival rides.
Okay.
He would make carousels and little whirly-gig toy kind of things.
Okay.
And he also his representation was, I guess, the pop culture of his heyday.
Okay.
So that was that kind of like you were saying, people who neither of these guys had any kind of formal training.
Mm-hmm.
They just did it because they liked it. I didn't realize, we started inviting them to come. We started doing open houses. Mm-hmm. We do summer gets kind of slow for an artist and festivals are hot. So we said, you know what, we're gonna open our house. We're gonna have an event. We're gonna invite other artists. It became kind of a little party, and then we're gonna promote it. We sold really well, but it was really just a good time. And then, so
That's what I like.
they were some of our guests. I told my wife, I said, worst case scenario, we just have a really cool party.
Yeah.
So a lot of these artists that either were shy or weren't sure about how to sell or what to wear, so that kind of got started. That kind of segued into my wife opening and running the gallery, where she represents so many of our friends that are artists in this respect. A lot of our artists are completely self-taught. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Right.
I always say I'm halfway between. I went to college, but I look, and most of my work is almost kind of blue collar in a lot of the way that it's being a working artist, doing festivals. You're setting up. I call it a temporary gypsy village.
Yes.
So it's the actual work that I do is very physical. It's a lot of your standard tools.
I mean, a chainsaw is heavy. You hold it,
Chainsaw,
it's vibrating after
different
about 5
saws.
minutes.
And that's now that's another thing. People will often say, "Oh, you do chainsaw. Can you come cut this tree in my? Can you come carve this tree in my yard? I have a
Right.
stump in my yard." And well, that's not really how I work. It's the chainsaw it's a major part of what I do, but in the grand scheme of all the different tools, it's only a small part of my style, of the way I work.
Right.
I work best in my shop, in my studio, because I have such an array of tools and I go through so many different processes, and I don't work start to finish in a day. I'll start 100 pieces and work on them, and one piece start to finish could be days, weeks, sometimes goes into months and years as I'll set things aside. Part of it depends on sometimes it has to do with the weather. Sometimes it has to do with my physical level. When I'm really feeling good, the weather's nice, that's when I'm out carving, welding, doing the heavy work.
And mental too.
And mental. Sometimes it's the mental. Generally, I wake up motivated. It's just physically where I'm at. And there's things that I can do inside. There's painting is very time consuming, but it's low labor intensity.
Yeah, and you can just leave things and come back to them.
Exactly. And I could work on things in different stages at different times. When my little girl was young, I was working from home. I would have piles at different places in the house. So when she would sleep, I'd go outside and I'd work. And then when she was up, I'd work in whatever room she was playing in.
Right.
So as she would go from room to room, I would just switch whatever
Well,
thing
no,
I
and
was working
also
on.
I also like to have several projects at once, because then
Yeah.
as soon as you start to feel burnt out on one, you just go to another,
You can
or waiting on one to dry, you go to another one.
Sure. You have an array of what you can choose from, but also that's what, like you brought up the term waiting for something to dry. I used to have the really bad habit of setting glue and then coming back and wanting to mess with it an hour later. And then or painting something and trying to do something else with it when the paint wasn't quite,
Well, when you can actually see what you want, you're just so excited to reach that finish line.
ready to get to. So having multiple projects, it was easy to set things aside, forget about them, give it plenty of time for, like you said, for wood sealer and paint to dry. I've always got paint or glue drying on something, almost at any given time. And then you run out of, being that I work with so many different media and so many different materials. When we asked about my flamethrower, when my torch is out, I've got a oxyacetylene torch. When you run out of one gas or the other, now you can't wood burn.
Right.
So that gets put aside. Now my wife would get in the car right now and go go replace it. I set it aside, and the next time that I'm in town,
Right.
then I do that, and I just work on other things in the meantime.
And then sometimes happy accidents happen where you're like, I would normally use that, but I think I could probably do the same thing if I use this. And then that's when a happy accident, I like to call it. Yeah.
Sure.
And you're like, who knows? You never know.
Yeah, sometimes it pushes you in a direction. Necessity is the mother of invention. There you go.
So I have one last question for you.
Sure.
And of course, drum roll, this is a big one. AI. What is your take on AI?
It's so odd because somebody was saying, it's so big in visual arts. So it can come up with any kind of image you want. Then they say, oh, now it's music. So if you're a musician, it's honing in on what you're doing. And some people say, oh, if you're a writer, it gets into your writing. They said, but you should be safe because my stuff is so tactile, and the kind of tools that I use, and the roughness and the mixing of materials. But I said, 3D printing has coming along in leaps and bounds. It used to be that you would just print stuff in this plastic type substance, this kind of petroleum product plastic. But now they're doing it to where they're printing in wax and using that to cast. So now you got bronzes and metals. You're doing different types of sand molds to where you can potentially cast the metals, make some kind of a wood composite product, and it wouldn't be far till they could come up with a replica of my work. So it's not that it's not
a
far
big
from
thing,
it being
yeah.
a threat. Yeah, sure.
I mean, I've seen videos where they're able to make houses now over so many hours. Like they 3D print the house.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so with AGI coming out, which is general intelligence, I mean, that would be an intelligence that could look at your art, be told, I want you to make some art like this. And it would literally
Do a
with
Kelly
AI,
Guidry style. It could study my
exactly.
style, and then yeah.
And so that is pretty scary. But I mean, 5 years, you said?
Yeah, as long as I get royalties, I'm not
You're
going to be able
good.
to do it
I
a whole
think
lot.
you're
Yeah.
good. I think it's the rest of us that got to be a little worried.
Sure.
Thank you so much for joining me on Casey and Friends, my favorite TV show. Hopefully yours now too.
Sure. Yeah.
And I hope you can see, or we can see you again sometime. Maybe we can check out your gallery or something.
Absolutely. You're welcome to come anytime.
Thank you so much. And that's a wrap.